It's the Jack
and Kathy
Show.
Shit Show.
And there we go.
Yeah,
Okay, I think it. Yeah.
Okay.
Due to technical difficulties, there will be no video for this podcast until roughly halfway through. Apologies in advance.
Don't just because Erin's here, don't suddenly become a dork.
I'm always a dork. Come on. Give me credit.
So we've podcast number 3 of the year.
Number 3 of 2023. Yeah. Numero
whatever.
Trace.
So today we have a guest. Last year we had this guest on.
Erin,
and
Timm.
it went from 1 hour to 17 hours and became a production nightmare. It was a lot of fun.
It was
just terrible for a podcast.
It was so
my
much
fault.
fun. We
No, it wasn't
came
your
to
fault.
your house and your beautiful house, and you
Before
had...
we go there, let's rewind. Hold on.
What?
So now we have Erin on the line again. So why don't we talk about Erin and then introduce her, and then we can recap.
Okay.
Because I can feel it already. No offense to the two of you. It's going like this.
You're so right.
It's
Thank
going,
you.
woo!
Rein it in. Jack, get it. Rein it in for us.
Intro, Erin Timm from Wisconsin is a friend of yours from your growing up days.
Long time.
And we had her on
Yeah.
an episode a while ago, but we couldn't produce it because it was way too long. It was causing a lot of stuff. So we wanted to have you back.
Yeah.
And now you're back.
Yay!
I don't want to say too much.
Introduce you. Yeah. No, it's okay. All good. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you're about, and then you guys chat and we'll go on. I'll step out now.
Well, my name's Erin, and I am from Wisconsin, but I moved to Chicago for like almost 20 years. I met Kathy as a model. We were probably both in our 30s.
Oh, you're so generous.
Well,
I've got
really.
7 years on you, my friend.
Actually, I may have been like 25,
Yeah,
you know, and...
I was probably spitting out babies.
And you
up
were
here.
probably 30.
Yeah.
If that. Mm-hmm. But anyway. And we've been friends, but, you know, over time, I go to Paris, you go to get married, you have your kids.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
anyway, so here I am. And we reconnected thanks to you both.
Yeah.
Because I saw Jack and Kathy Shit Show as a choice.
That's how it happened?
That is how, we didn't.
No, I know you were always connected,
We
but...
reconnected since like 2020. I reached out to you.
Yeah.
Like, how are you? But
we've been talking more and growing
Yeah.
closer, and I was honored to be invited to Chicago for your birthday.
for my 50th
this
birthday,
past
which
week.
was last week,
It
and Jack was there
was.
towards the tail end.
Yes. And
Yes.
so it's just our friendship has blossomed, and you have been listening to this crazy shit show of a podcast since basically the beginning.
I
and
was
we're
the first
honored.
super fan.
We often mention you
Yes,
as
because
one
I
of
was
our
the
2
first-
I think
listeners.
you're the only super fan. But...
Yes, exactly.
No,
You
I
need-
think there are others, and they're just not saying it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I do.
I think people get shy. Yeah, they just
Yeah.
don't.
We didn't know how many people listened to it until we went to a birthday party at a farm in Mequon. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes.
Where a bunch of
That's
people
what you
came up
said?
to us and said, "Oh, we love your podcast."
I love the part when
Yeah,
It's
and I
like,
had no idea they
well,
were
why
even
don't you talk
listening.
to us
yeah,
about it?
exactly.
Yeah,
Feedback.
It was
Exactly.
kind of mind blowing because we just kind of do our little podcast and never know
Yeah.
quite who it touches or who listens or what they gain out of it. And so it's really nice to have you here. We love
is.
that you
We love
were
you.
willing to do
Oh,
this
I
again.
love you guys.
And we're
both,
excited
too.
about having you.
Because
I'm so happy to
so
be
to
here,
tell
too.
the story of the first round, we went to your house and lovely, great. We had
Love
so
your
much
house,
fun, probably
love your
too much fun
kids.
because we had endless cocktails and yummy snacks, and we were probably chomping into the mic for 3.5 hours.
And just going
when
off.
it came to editing, it was like, what?
We had no
Are we going
outline.
to?
Like we
No,
do
there was
tonight.
nothing. There
I
was
know, we got a little
It
outline.
was truly off the rails.
But
Yes.
which was so much fun.
It was a blast.
And I
was
made you guys
fun.
stay until the
total
end.
blast.
I was reading from an astrology book to you guys. I read the same sentence over and
like
over.
17 times.
And then the Sagittarius. He's falling asleep, and you're just being nice.
Which
choking
was
out.
you okay? You okay?
Okay, we're good. That was great.
Which was actually a really great book. What's the name of that book again?
I should have brought it. It's just a big, thick hardcover, very thick hardcover book called Birthdays. The Secret
Yeah.
Language of Birthdays.
Secret
The
language.
secret
of birthdays.
language
Yes.
of birthdays.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Super brilliant.
And it seems to be so on point with everyone I've ever read it
Yes.
about.
Oh God, yeah, it's
Everybody.
scary.
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
good.
I don't know. I don't understand why.
I
was
know.
so good.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
So we're doing round 2 because we really want to focus on, obviously Jack and I have been through quite a bit before finding each other. And so these conversations we have about relationships and personal growth have really meant a lot to us. And that's really the birthplace of this podcast because we talk nonstop about all that stuff. And so it's fun to have you on here because I know you have your own personal growth to share in terms of relationships. You have a beautiful son, and he's 28?
27.
27.
Yeah.
And just an incredible human being.
Thank you. Yes, he is.
And you're currently single. And as you told us when you just came in, you were venturing into the dating apps.
Yeah, well, I have done that before.
Yeah.
Like on and off several times.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun, but it's right now I'm doing it just because I'm curious. And last year, 2022, I looked back and I said, there has not even been like a whisper of a guy. Like I didn't even get like a drunk text for the first time no, really,
God,
like
that's
someone's
awesome.
from the ethers from a million years ago, which happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Wow.
It was radio silence. It was crickets.
Wow.
And I thought, well, I'm not done. I'm
Yeah,
not
of course
done.
not. My God.
So, and I really just kind of want to. I'm curious. That's the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was talking to you guys about how, like, probably my biggest fascination, my biggest category of fascination is intimate relationships.
Yeah.
Because we are not like we are in any other relationship, then kind of we lose our shit in that relationship.
No doubt.
In such a primal kind of way, like a childhood wounds kind of way. And we don't do that in friendships, really. We don't really do that, and we certainly shouldn't be doing it with our boss, with our neighbors,
That's right.
Yeah.
It's intimate relationships.
That relationship can be a mirror, which kind of brings me to
What relationship? Intimate ones? Okay.
Intimate relationships can be a mirror, and we don't always like what they reflect back, right? Because there's a lot that I didn't want to look at when I looked into that mirror. And so that brings me kind of to my first question about what have you learned about yourself in these past relationships that you are, how did it make you grow? What did it make you discover about yourself? Good, bad, and ugly?
Yeah. Usually ugly.
Really?
Usually ugly.
Really?
Yeah, for me. I think that's why it's so convenient to not be in a relationship, because you don't have to. You don't get to the deepest parts of yourself. I don't believe you do. You don't get to the deepest, softest parts of yourself if you stay purposely away from that. So what I've learned is that and this is not a joke, I can be so naive when it comes to when I'm in a relationship, intimate relationship. Which also means then I don't see red flags very easily. I can later. Afterwards, I'm like, how did I not see that? He grew a goatee and then we broke up. Like, I just
we have talked
very
about
naive.
that ourselves too. How did we not? We knew the red flags were there. We knew the parts of previous relationships that didn't work, but we kept hanging on because there were parts that did work.
I think you also hang on because you hear you're supposed to compromise, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So there's that fine line. Do I compromise or do I call this a deal breaker?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was told by a therapist, because I said, what is a red flag? Because you hear it all the time. So I said, you define a red flag for me. And she said, when you start to compromise yourself. And I said, and I went, yeah, but aren't you supposed to? She goes, nope. The moment you start feeling uncomfortable in a situation and you say to yourself, well, I'm going to give a little bit right here, even though I really don't feel comfortable. She said it's no different than walking down a street where you know you shouldn't walk down. It's late at night. And you say to yourself, why am I going down this street? You don't go down it But in relationships, you tell yourself, well, there's all these, I think it's the same theme that we talk
Yeah.
about. There's
Yeah.
all these other good things. So a red flag, she really just burned into my brain, is when you start sacrificing yourself. When you start moving
That's
away
it.
from your center,
I never
that's a
heard
red
that.
flag. So it's really more,
That's
do you
so
feel that
hard
way
to
or no?
see because I think it can be so gradual sometimes, you know?
I agree.
As you start a relationship and you start to develop intimacy, you can gradually start compromising yourself when you didn't even realize you did. And, you know, I'm 57 freaking years
Six.
old.
Almost.
56, almost
yeah,
57.
you're young
Uh-huh.
compared to
child.
me.
Yes, I got like what, 4 months on
4
you.
months on me.
And I just, looking back, I'm fucking shocked at myself that I ever allowed some of these situations to get to where I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed
Well, do you remember
Thank
when
you.
we were
by,
having,
by my choices.
do you remember when when we were having drinks at Erin's birthday party? You collective women got mad at me when I said I fucked this up. You went, no, you had to learn. You had to go through those steps. I'm
Well,
like,
that's
"But
true.
I get that
That
part, but
can-
at the same time, I knew it when it was happening.
Yeah.
Like I knew this person before I met Kathy never wanted to go hang out with my family.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
I kept saying, well, at some point they're gonna get comfortable
right,
with this.
right.
But it was stupid to think that they would. It was such a big no to me, right? It was I'm not gonna do it, can't do it, would never make an attempt to do it, and yet I kept saying, well, I'll let this fly. It's that compromise thing you talked about. And that's why I beat myself up over it, because I recognize that all roads lead to something else, and blah 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 blah
Right.
blah.
Yeah, one door closes, another one.
Yeah, but
opens.
that's not what we're talking about, really. We're
No.
talking about
Yeah.
being in it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's one thing.
Exactly.
Right. We're talking about being in it. Yeah, I can look back and everything was meant to happen the way it was. Whatever. Yes. Even if it was my fault, you know?
Yeah.
But
Right.
Yeah.
I have never been married. So, and
Yeah.
I've never, I mean, I lived with people for a few months here and there, but that was like in the 1900s. You know, I mean, you know, it was a long time ago. You can't really count that, you know. So
Yeah, that
but
was just because you got your rent split. And that
You're
was
right.
I was
really
sharing the
convenient.
cost.
you know,
We're
but I've
sharing the
never
cable bill.
been married. So I have been a dater for 33 years or something
Yeah.
like that.
And
so
do you approach dating now differently than you did? Like as you embark on this new phase of Hinge and dating apps, do you have this mindset that you're going to approach it differently?
well,
With
I
what
think
you've
I know you're
learned?
talking just to me.
Yeah.
But I think in
Yeah.
general, I think if you've been dating for 33 years, never been married during that time, then of course, after every relationship, you're gonna approach it differently.
Yeah.
And I would say most of the time, actually, in the last 2 years, that hasn't been true. But prior to that, for all those years, I would say I'm going to approach it differently next time, and then I don't.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Because if I get, because I get into this naive space, like, and I get like, oh, they're so handsome or cute, or they're
Yeah.
making me feel great, and then I'm just like, oh, it's okay if he did cocaine once, you know,
Right
and
in
it's
front of me.
not,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
and it isn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's
You
not,
know?
it's one of your
Cocaine
red
once in
flags.
front of me, I mean,
Yes.
not in the past where he told me. I'm talking
Yeah.
about
No, I
like,
get it, where they
surprise,
start-
oh my God,
Yep.
that's cocaine right there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's not your jam,
Right.
man.
But
It's
then I
not-
went out on another date with him.
Yeah.
You know, so
Oh, you would do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
that was like 2018.
Okay.
Not long ago.
Yeah.
Folks. And I will say that was the first time I've ever even seen cocaine.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
even
Really?
seen it. And it
Yeah.
just, there it was. We were at his house. So,
Yeah.
you know, he did it. He just pulled it out. And I went, oh. You know,
Oh my God.
no warning.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not cool.
Well, at
That's
least he's
not-
being true to himself.
He's clearly comfortable.
You could use,
very-
that's one way to say it.
Right. I'm comfortable with myself. Mind if I do coke?
So now, you know, in your where you are now, what would you tell yourself to watch out for? What are you self-talking, self-coaching your way? Like, are you talking to yourself about how you want to show up differently to these dates, or ask different questions, or take a different path on these dates?
Oh, boy.
You know?
Well, I think I've always shown up the same, which is my just being myself, whoever that is at the time.
Yeah.
You know, with like no pretense or anything. But but I do think that now I guess I'm sort of being honest with myself. For example,
Yeah.
just a few months ago, I was at this work gathering and somebody said to her boyfriend, "You got to set her up with somebody. If you know someone, set Erin up with somebody."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, you should come to our church. That's where you should go.
Yeah.
You got to come to our church." Now, I don't attend church.
Yes.
And I'm not.
Neither do we.
I just don't.
Yeah.
And go ahead and do that. But years ago, I would have just said, "Oh, okay," and then I
Yep.
wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
I would have just said, "Oh, okay, yeah, we'll do that." And this is what I said this time.
Yes.
I said, "Oh, that is so nice. I don't attend church, but that is so sweet of you to say that."
Yes. Yes.
And that was very difficult for me. In fact, I had
Right.
like a
Wow.
heart palpitation when I said that.
Dang.
And
Because
is
I
that
was like,
because
"Oh,
you had
I don't want to
this,
get someone upset."
Exactly. Your need to please.
Oh,
Jack and
absolutely.
I are afflicted with that need to please syndrome as well, right?
You
and
far more than me.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
I don't want
Mostly
to make
women,
anybody
mostly females more
uncomfortable.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
really interesting that was your take. Was you didn't want to? I thought you were going to say that you didn't want to give up on what might be a really great guy.
Oh, hell no.
So it wasn't
Because-
that. It was really you just didn't want to tell someone no.
That would be disingenuous to go
Oh,
to church.
yeah, no. I
and
just
not
didn't want to
staying
tell someone
authentic.
no.
Okay.
So that's huge that
Yeah.
you said
Yeah,
that.
that is
How did
huge.
that
Oh, it
feel
is huge.
afterwards? Were you
Well,
like,
actually, I had to go to
relief?
my coworker, who I really like. I love my coworkers,
Yeah.
and I went up to her and later, before
Mm-hmm.
it was over, and I said, "Please tell me that it wasn't offensive when I told you I don't attend church, because I know that you do, and because you talk about
Yes.
it, and but I wouldn't come to you if, let's call her Mary.
Yeah.
Mary, I would not come to you, but I care about how you feel and
Yeah.
how you feel about
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did I offend you?" She goes, "No, I don't care. You are so great, blah, 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 whatever."
Yeah.
And she just said, "Of course
Yeah.
not. You do you."
Yeah.
And I even said to David, "Don't say," I said his name.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's okay.
She said, I even said to him, "Don't say that. You don't have to tell
Yeah,
people."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was just, and then I just like squeezed her shoulders. And
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because I don't want her to think I think she's an idiot, because
Right.
I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And
right.
so I had to like clean it up. So it wasn't
at
easy.
the same time, you're being true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Which is a
It
big
felt
step.
great.
Yes.
Yeah.
It felt great in the end. I'm like,
Exactly.
"You said that."
Yep.
Yeah. Good
know?
for you.
Yeah.
So, but you can imagine all the other things that I've done over the years where a guy might, let's say I'm in a relationship, a guy might say something like, "I think you should do this or be this or wear this," or,
Guy has said that.
"Oh, yeah." And you've got the E for explicit, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
even down to, "This is how I think you should fashion your pubes."
What the fuck?
And I'll tell you something. I would never in a moment, ever say to any
is
guy,
wrong with men?
"Looking good down there, bud, but you need to shave a bit." I wouldn't say that, because you know why? If he's presenting himself to me,
Yeah.
here we are. This is the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got his pubes exactly the way he wants them.
Yeah.
Fuck is
Okay.
with dudes.
Oh my God! It has been
Wow.
it's been a shit show.
I
Wow.
really want to change this podcast. So what the fuck
the
are you
fuck is-
thinking?
Yeah.
What the
Like
fuck are
every
you
time we
thinking,
have
dudes?
a female on in any capacity, men are
Yeah.
just jackasses.
Yeah.
Even if they're feeling that way, that's something after months of dating and you talk and maybe your partner even says, "Hey, do you like?" And you say, "I'd like this." That's different. But what the fuck?
Well, and so here's the development of that. So
Oh, God.
many years ago, a guy would say that, I'd be like, "Oh, I guess I'm doing it all wrong."
you
Yeah.
would.
Oh yeah, because what am I, 21 at the time? I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
And you're just trying to make sure
I don't
he's
wanna
happy.
be embarrassed.
Yeah.
So it happened again many years later. Of course, different guy, like 20 years later, and He's like, I like what you got going down there, but could you XYZ instead? And you know what I said? I said, all righty. Came back like a week later, not what he wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you tell me what to do with my pubic hairs again,
Dyed it yellow and created
this
a
is what's going to
mohawk.
happen.
Yeah, baby.
Just isn't good enough for you, buckaroo? Like, wow.
Isn't that
So-
it though?
Isn't that it?
You just said it. This isn't good enough for you?
Exactly. And that
Yeah.
is it.
Like that, see?
You're
Yeah.
great and all, but
Yeah.
if you did an airline strip,
Right.
I might.
well,
I was trying to make Jack laugh.
yeah. It'd be one
I
thing.
know that's such a dude statement. Do you know what an airline
It'd be
strip
one.
is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I didn't mean to sound stupid, but
No, it's
I can
good.
see
But
dudes just.
it's one thing if you were in a committed relationship with this person and you were farther down the road to have them go,
Absolutely.
babe, I really think it'd be hot. Could we try this?
Well,
Or
but
just
that's different.
That's
That's
totally
so
different.
different.
Totally
But when
different.
you're dating, you're getting to know each other,
Yes.
and yeah,
That's so
it's like
presumptuous.
time number 3.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is rough.
Yeah.
So it sounds like what you're learning is you're finding your voice a little
Yeah.
more.
Finding men
earlier.
to be jackasses.
Yes.
And you were
that is
less
true.
tolerant
Absolutely.
of some of those, I don't know, the red flags. You're seeing some of the red flags sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
that's brilliant.
Well, I
That's
also think
definitely-
that in this day and age, I think it's like a guy has to be a certain political affiliation for sure.
We talked
for
about
me.
that last week.
Yes.
And if he isn't, forget it. But years ago, it used to be, well, he voted
it's
that
different
way,
now.
but
It's
it's
different.
completely different now.
Yeah.
So that if I know that right away, even if Brad Pitt walked up to me, I would ask him,
Yeah, where do you
registered
stand?
Democrat or Republican?
Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has
You get
to
it.
be.
One
it has
opens
to be that.
the door, the other one says bye-bye.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just as that way. So, at least, you get to know yourself better. So, so that's it, I guess. But I
That's-
do, it's hard to be.
That's super fair.
Well, here's why I thoroughly agree with you on everything you're saying right now. It's because there's always a talk of chemistry versus compatibility. And you can have a shit ton of chemistry, but man, if you're not someone that goes to church and they do, that's a big thing. And there's always, I told you about, I dated someone who was really nice. We went on 2 dates. She was a musician. And she said, remember I told you this? She said, we should play together. I'd like you to come play at my church. Oh. And just like one of those records, like,
Yes. Yes.
right? I went, yeah, I don't go to church. And I went, is that really important to you? Because I didn't want to, and I was being sincere. I told you this story.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to say don't go to church because I have family members that do. And I'm not gonna push my thinking or feelings on that topic, right? It's the same thing with jazz or rock and roll. Whatever it is, I don't want to push. And it was a really big issue for her that she said, have you not found Jesus to be your savior and all this? And I didn't, right? I full stop just said, yeah, we're not gonna be able to make this work. So I think that's a compatibility issue because those are big things. And if
No
whom
doubt.
someone votes for is a big thing. If they like to work out or not, you can't be aligned on everything. We're not for sure.
Right.
But damn, if you were to ask the two of us compared to previous relationships, I would say we've got a billion more things that we're compatible with, not just chemistry.
No doubt.
And that to me is what's huge. And so I think that's what, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're starting to sort out is this is important to me, this is important to me, and I'm not going to maneuver from that anymore.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah,
and,
that's huge.
And I think what also is so fun about it now and why I decided to go back on an app is because I'm doing it for the curiosity of it.
Yeah.
And I think when you go into something with like a desperation, like long ago, I wanted to have more kids. I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
My son, I had my son when I was 22.
Yeah.
And I really wanted more kids. So when I was looking for men, I was looking for men that kind of with my ovaries. I was kind of looking with my ovaries, like, and no, and I didn't,
Yeah.
and
that looks like some good DNA.
wow, I got my eyes closed, but my ovaries can see. And that's a dangerous way to be because, and actually I never found anyone that I thought was worthy of being, because I didn't want to go through that again, not only for myself being treated awfully, but also to have a child.
Yes.
To
endure that.
we get a divorce again, or I didn't have a divorce since I was never married, but
to
you
put
don't
your
want to do that to
child
a
on a roller
perfect
coaster,
baby.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't do that. So again, I mean, I learned that lesson took just one to learn.
Yeah.
You don't do that to it. It's easier
Yeah.
to take care of someone else than it is to take care of
Yes.
yourself.
No doubt.
So.
No
Wow.
doubt. And I have this in, yesterday I sent you kind of an outline of some questions. And this is one that.
I don't want to make noise.
That's
and you
okay.
can. It's all right.
This is one that I wanted to touch on because both of us come from a background of modeling and neither of us are in that industry anymore. But people make great assumptions when they see, because you're stunning.
Is this the kind of thing that you and I were talking about last night?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. You're stunning. You're,
Thanks,
I mean, you might have just turned 50. You don't look a day
Don't
over
look a day over
35.
35,
And
not even.
you keep yourself in
thank you, guys.
fantastic shape and you have incredible style and you're funny and you're a mom and
Awesome
you own a
energy and
house and you've got
kindness.
a job.
Aw,
I mean, you just check
guys.
all kinds of fucking boxes. But people really do look at models and if they don't understand the industry, which most people don't, right? They really think that wealthy, handsome model men are just chasing you down the block to be your partner.
That has never happened. Never happened to me.
I know. And it's really, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, we're models, poor pity party. Oh, feel bad for me. But it just is something that I guess I wanted to talk to you about because I kind of related to it. And that just this preconceived idea of what people think our lives are like when they look at us, right? Of course, when they look at me right now, they're like, yeah, no, we don't think that about you.
That's what you think. That's what you think.
But I get that. I understand it, that it's almost, I think, works against you because some people find that so intimidating.
That's a good way of
and
saying
they
it.
They don't think that you're a real person beneath all that. Like somehow
Just
life
think of
was
what she
easy
shared
or-
with us before we started recording.
Yeah.
Was the hinge comments of everything that was the physical attributes of you. And you left some funny comments that someone could have, with some sense of wit, responded back to your post and didn't. Mm-hmm. Right? It didn't address the post, just said, oh, don't worry, you're so pretty, you're
right.
fine.
And in fact, one of my, you on Hinge, you can put like 3 or 4 different, factoids or whatever. And so one of the things says, you can choose a question, then you answer it.
Yep.
So it says, I'm convinced that.
Yeah.
And no one has said anything about this, and it's fucking hilarious. It says, it is.
If I do
and
say
they
so
should.
myself.
And I do. And you will laugh your balls off in a minute. It says, I'm convinced that. And I said, no one is reading this. Oh, and everyone over 35 has herpes. No one's commented.
No one
has commented. And you know
and
what?
by the way, that is the easiest thing to address because it's so lighthearted
that
you don't have to go deep into the pool. You can say, but I would respond. I'm telling you, I'd respond. I'd respond with, I definitely have read this, and I do take penicillin. Does that check any boxes for you? Right? That's what
it's an open.
But isn't that what more women want anyway? Is that kind of, let's have a dialogue? Instead, they'd respond with, it's okay, you're so pretty. I'm sure your herpes is fine.
Say no more,
So
Erin.
fucking stupid.
No one, and then I get a whole bunch of people of the opposite political affiliation going, yeah, you're just. I'm like, did you read? You have to be a registered Democrat, and also taller than 6 feet.
Yeah,
and they don't care.
And they don't.
Yeah.
They didn't read it.
Yeah,
they didn't read it. They're just going 6 pictures.
Right.
Hey, I love your white jeans. They all say. I love white jeans. Slay me was one from today.
Oh my. Well, there's some quality.
Yeah, I mean,
banter.
it's just fun. It's funny.
Yes.
No, it's not fun.
Yes.
It's not fun at all.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
I keep saying this. I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't.
I don't.
I think the majority of men are just dumb fucking asses out there. Am I just being too cocky for myself?
No, I think you're
no,
right.
that's
no,
not the
I think
word.
you're,
I want to be Hitch.
You want to be Hitch? Oh, like
movie?
That's
Where he tells guys, what are you doing? And he shows them how to be.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
He
Why not?
coaches them on how to.
Why not?
respond.
Maybe that's another guest you have on.
Yeah.
Dudes,
have enough-
I'd love to. You know what I'd love to have on
Yeah.
is a bunch of dumbass dudes. Let's see your
I have
profile,
a few on
jackass.
here. I have a few on here I could.
Oh no! I'm
Okay.
going to shoot somebody. Oh, thank God, my
Are you
screen
plugged
went out.
in?
Yes. Woo! It's still recording. I thought I was going to
Okay.
die. Yeah, I have these
Oh my
moments
God.
Do now.
of panic. The
Okay.
video went out. That's okay. We're good.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. I know that my girlfriend Jenny, when I embarked on these dating apps, she said, "Kathy, you need someone to make you laugh." Has anybody made you laugh?
You do?
Because you teed it up with the answer to your question. You could have had anybody have like a witty little comeback, and they didn't step up to the plate yet.
However, if I needed someone to make me laugh, then that's a lot of people, you know.
Yeah.
A lot, and I read that on a lot of men's profiles. As long as you're funny, I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's where I think
Roseanne
the error
Barr's
comes
funny.
in.
Like, do you
Yeah.
want to, like, God bless her, but
Well, it's not like stand-up comedian funny. It's just
But you know what I
somebody
mean. Like, don't just say
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just,
I don't think it's saying. So here's my take. Oh my God, I'm going to go nuts if this thing isn't recording. I'm going to lose my mind. I don't think it's. See, I think where guys make a mistake and say things like, as long as you're funny, that's not what's funny. It's just being funny and being yourself.
Right.
Right. And if that's something that's important to you, you'll find that. Does that make any sense what I'm getting at? Like I didn't put down, I'm looking for someone that wants to laugh. And neither
Right.
did you.
No.
But we made each other laugh.
Yeah, there
And
was
that was
some
something that was
banter in texting.
What
that
did you-
was-
okay.
I mean, neither of us saved the dating app. Otherwise, we could have.
I wish we would have saved
but do you
our stuff.
remember
probably
what you
should
said?
have.
Each
Well, I
of you?
remember. So we got to remember, we met on Hinge first, and then she chased me, and I went, "Chill, biatch."
Well, that's
taking
not what I heard from you guys. I
Yeah.
heard that you said, "Well, I'm about to move."
No,
Exactly.
Yeah.
it wasn't that. It was, babe.
He's lying.
I got to
He's
believe
lying
there's
right
other
now.
men you could go out with. Ease up. That's what I said.
You would not.
did
would.
not.
That would be mean. You did not say.
No, I
that.
didn't
did
say
not.
that. But I remember her Hinge profile and had a picture of her at Carrie's wedding, and that was it. And I said, I said something that I thought was kind, like, you seem so happy in this picture. Not you look hot or great smile. Was you just seem so happy. Love the pic. That was
Yeah,
it.
I think that was the pic you liked, and it was just the sheer joy.
Yeah, 'cause
that
and then
you
there was.
thought, that's
Then
cool.
you said something. Does this beer make me look fat?
Oh yeah,
And I think I responded with, only if it's your second.
I had
Oh,
this.
that's funny.
I had a photo with a big beer stein, at an outdoor beer
Perfect.
garden.
That's perfect
next to
for
my
you.
head, and the beer is about the size of my torso.
Oh, that's
And I was like,
great.
does this beer make my ass look fat?
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I thought it was clever, and he liked that, and so.
But I just think, but he read it.
Yeah. Yeah,
not
he
everybody
read it.
reads
He
that
read
shit.
the words.
That's the thing. I could write the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think men would be like, yeah, oh, like. If I'm flattering myself, guilty. But I mean, that's what's happening. That's what's
But
happening.
See, go.
What if you take all the sentences in your answer to your question and just put them backwards and see if
Right.
anybody comments
Well,
on the fact that
the ones that have been commenting are 67 years old.
Oh, okay.
And, saying they would like a companion for the rest of their lives. And,
yeah.
and God bless them,
Yeah.
but I just, it's that part is sad because,
Yeah.
it looks clearly like they had a professional picture taken in front of a, school, elementary school,
Brick
blue
wall
backdrop
or
or
something,
something.
yeah.
And they're like, well,
Yeah.
granddad, you
Yeah.
got to get your
Yeah.
picture taken for your dating app, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot, liking my things.
I was
liking
pretty
my
strict
things.
on the pictures myself. I think we are, and Jack
Strict
had-
with your own, you mean, or what
well,
you saw?
strict with the how I edited through the men on the dating app. I mean, strong pictures were subconsciously at first. I didn't realize I was doing this, but I gravitated to people that had really good pictures, and that doesn't mean professionally taken.
Right.
It just meant they were well curated. They had some balance to them. They
And
were
we
well
know
taken.
about
They
well
had
curated.
good color and. Damn, if they had a decent outfit on at the time, I was like, oh, that's cool. They really pulled it together. And, versus the person that really did have the phone down at their hip and shooting up.
And there
they're
are so many with their shower curtain behind them.
Exactly.
Lots of those.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, and it's the same
mirror.
shower curtain in a few pictures.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. With
Of
outfit
several
changes.
men.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely gravitated to some well curated
I know,
photos.
but I know I was pretty brilliant. I'm not trying to say I was crushing it.
Look,
I
what's wrong with saying our
I
strengths?
crushed it on dating apps. I'm not kidding you. I always did, and I always knew the best thing to do is to find a good profile picture.
yes, that's the main
recognize
thing.
I'm not a model, but I would pick one that I went like, that's a really nice picture of you. And the one that you liked was when I was at a ball game with Alex in Colorado.
Yeah.
I was at the Rockies game. And then there was a picture where Alex and I were hiking, and I'm just giving her a really big kiss. And I said to her, can I use this in my dating app? Because it's her face. And you never know how that could transpire.
Right.
And she said, I don't care. That's great. But I did that because I wanted anyone to see me that knows three things. I'm fit, so I happened to be wearing... This is a little bit arrogant right here.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I happened to be wearing
it's-
a little bit more fitted shirt, so it said, "Yep, he's athletic."
We want to see that.
And then
we
I
wanna
like the
see
outdoors.
The real
Yeah.
thing, I mean.
Yeah.
Then and it was a long picture too, by the way. You could see my legs. And then it was the outdoors, but it was also kissing my daughter, right? And I said something like, I think I even wrote, "Of my kids, this is the one I want to keep," something like that. So I had a little bit of humor in it, right?
Yeah.
But I know I was really good at it. And you even said there was a picture of me playing the guitar. There were a whole bunch of things, but none of them were posed portrait-based photographs because
Yeah.
I didn't want to come off that way.
God.
And I have to tell you, I'm not kidding when I say I'm not like a model at any.
Yeah.
I tore it up though.
See this? Yeah. No.
I mean, I don't think guys get that. I don't think they realize that you don't have to be like a superstar if you're
Yeah.
just yourself.
Well,
No?
I once went out on a date with a guy from an app, and it didn't last. And I'll tell you, I have so many funny way things end.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
date, funny things, but he was not attractive, really. I mean, he really wasn't. But he had these looks in all of the pictures that was like, he is happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is like real.
Yeah.
None of them were posed, and he was not like, out of shape or anything. I mean, he wasn't
Yes.
like totally fit, but
Yeah.
And in fact, when we went out on a date, he even said, "So, why did you pick me?"
Yeah.
He said that,
Yeah.
and I said exactly that. I said, "You look like a happy guy.
Yeah.
See?
You look like a happy guy," and not just that though. But he wasn't like
Yes,
87, and he
Yes,
also was.
of course.
There has to be some physical piece.
He
I
was
get that.
a little taller
Yeah.
than me, and he
I get it.
wasn't obese. And God,
Yes, yes.
I really also kind of don't care about bodies so much, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I learned in the last few years, yes, I do.
Yeah.
You maybe know that story. I don't know.
Well,
I'll tell you later.
to
But-
that end, by the way, to me, it's I don't care what size you are. I'm athletic and I'm hiking and I'm camping.
Right.
So that's and I'm biking. So that's a compatibility thing for me. And so if you're fit,
If you can do that.
If you can do that, that's
Yeah.
what I'm going to look for more than necessarily the shape.
Right.
And I think you agree with that. It's a
right.
different story than being
Right.
judgmental
But
of
some
someone's
people,
body.
but you got to know what you like, because I have some girlfriends who are
doubt.
like, oh no, he's got to be like looking like he's in the gym all day. Fine, if that's what good, go for that. If that's what you need.
Yeah.
But so this guy, the way it ended though was, we were out for dinner, and he was saying, this was before, I have cats, and you guys,
Yes.
I never thought I'd have cats, and even to say that, I'm like, I don't even want to say it, to be honest, but
Your
I'm trying to be
cats are
authentic for the
so
first time in my
sweet.
life, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's all
guys
good.
didn't even have any allergy
Yeah, we're
reaction.
I'm the
allergic,
allergy
and
one.
we
Okay,
had-
they were
yeah, we
crawling
had no
on you.
issues.
Yeah, they were
and
good.
they're
Yeah.
Himalayans, so they're
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
They were good.
So, and I've hated cats my whole life. So
Yes.
I went on this date. This was
Yeah.
10 years, more than 10 years ago.
Okay.
And he was just saying, he asked me, do you have any allergies? And I'm like, no, I'm not real. I mean, you know, a couple, but anyway.
Yeah.
I said, do you? And he said, yes, I'm allergic to cats, really allergic to cats.
Yeah.
And I didn't have cats at the time. I do not like cats at the time.
Yes.
And I took a bite of food and I said, I have a theory. I don't think anybody's actually allergic to cats. And I took a bite of food. And then I started chewing. I looked up. He was standing. And he goes, I am allergic to cats. I'm like,
Wow.
and this was like a fancy dinner place, you know.
Yes.
And his face got red, and he started to sweat
Oh,
a little
my.
bit. And then we left, and we ended up leaving in his car together.
Yeah.
But he calmed down. I said, "It's okay. You're allergic to cats. You're allergic to cats. It's okay. I don't have any. You don't have to worry." And then he calmed down and was like, I'm sorry I overreacted, but, I really do like you. And then I never saw him again. I don't remember how it ended after that. And that's fine.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
really fine.
Yeah.
But,
So let me ask you this. So we're talking about compatibility. What do you think outside of like physical attributes? Because you are tall, so I get that you'd like somebody that you could wear heels with or
I do.
something.
I
But-
want that. Not every
but-
tall person does.
Right. But what would you say, like, top 3 things that really you'd like to be in sync with this person? And it doesn't have to be just 3. If you have a list of 5 or 10, I mean, what or even
God, I
just
think
one,
we
like
went over
what's
this.
most important, like outside of the physical stuff, like what would you say? For me, I definitely love how I definitely loved that Jack made me laugh my ass off. And we had a very similar sense of humor. I definitely appreciate somebody that likes to be active. You don't have to run marathons. You don't have to compete at a high level. But I just like you to want to move your body, want to hike, want to go for a walk, hop on a bike, something, right? And I did appreciate that he was a father and that his children were a similar age. I love connecting in those. So those are things that now I can say were really important to me. I probably didn't focus on those during a date.
Right.
But do you have things that you would put on that short list that
I
you've
think the
discovered
main
are
thing
important?
is, as you were talking, I got some thoughts.
Yeah.
The main thing is how do I feel when I'm with that guy?
Yeah.
Like, do I feel like, do I feel like giddy?
Yeah.
Regardless of how they look. I mean, they could be the guy that I think is the dream guy look or not. But I mean, do I feel like, a little bit nervous?
Yeah.
That I need to feel that in the beginning,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
regardless of their looks.
Yes.
Oh God, what else? I have to admire something a lot about them that
Yes.
I don't think I could ever do. That I wouldn't do or couldn't do.
Yes.
That is just, they're so crazy about it. I'm not saying it has to be like this feat, like you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro or something.
Right.
But I mean something like they went for something and they did it and they got it and it was it was a risk and something to admire about them.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Admire
Right?
is a big.
Oh yeah, something to admire where you're just like you just go in that kind of dreamy state about it, and then they can't be someone who bad mouths especially their mother. I mean that might be
So
cliche,
they're respectful.
and that's happened before.
So
though.
saying that somebody is respectful to other people.
Yeah, but let's say for
Yeah.
example a man does not have a relationship with his mother, or she was a terrible mother. That happens. Okay. Now, but if that's the case, if they badmouth her, they have not dealt with their shit.
Yeah.
Because there is a way to actually say, I had a terrible mother, but I've learned from it.
Yeah.
And
I had a difficult
I've-
relationship with my mother.
Exactly.
I'm still healing from that. It
Yes,
doesn't mean you have
yes.
to like fluff it up and make it perfect.
Yes, like
But-
I was hurting. Say that.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have to be this
Vulnerability.
You know,
that's a vulnerability.
vulnerability,
Right?
but not,
Yeah.
maybe not too much, but at least throw it in there, pepper it in with a little bit, right? That you
Yeah.
have feelings a little,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So admiration, and they can express their feelings and own them, and then I have to feel giddy,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether they're the most handsome guy in the world or not,
Yeah.
because that's happened.
Yeah.
That has happened.
I think I'd also put on my list that and Jack does do this. Jack sincerely cares about my well-being, like sincerely cares about my
I
well-being.
get that.
And I don't think I've had that before.
You want to tell the story when you put that thing on your head?
What would that be,
That
Jack?
bandana.
Oh,
And I freaked out. They're really
Yeah.
emotional.
I think we did we talk about
Last
that with
week.
Terry?
We talked about it last week, but
Really, I didn't hear
yeah,
that.
but Erin doesn't
No,
know
no.
that.
I had this cool. What he's talking about is I had this cool new scarf, and you know how you can wear a scarf on
Silk
your head
scarf.
and tie it in the back. It's so pretty. And I put that on, and he's like had to take it off my head because it instantaneously he associated it with being ill,
Losing your
and
hair
losing your hair
because
and
of
having
illness.
cancer, and
Yeah.
that just
So I
was
said,
so
"Take that off
disturbing
now."
to him.
Yeah.
And
you started actually to well up.
yeah, it's just really, and he'll do things like he still gets my car door. He'll bring me my coffee or my matcha in bed, or
It's
he'll.
all for one reason.
I know, babe. Yes, I'm gonna get some.
Oh, I didn't mean that.
Oh no,
No, I
what
meant
did
for you to cook dinner for me.
Oh, that's
That's what I meant.
it.
What were you thinking?
That's it. Dinner.
Thank you.
Absolutely dinner.
Do the laundry.
But
I
he
actually do
even,
the laundry.
Yeah, he
Really?
did. He did
I
all,
do.
well, most
Oh
of the
my
laundry's
God.
Yeah.
yours anyway. So.
Most it is mine.
Yeah.
Right.
But somebody that and I think I always was searching for that somebody that sincerely cared about me. And I think a lot of my previous relationships, they did care in their own way. And I associated I globbed everything onto that
Right.
thing. I'm like, no, they really
In their
care. We
own
really
way.
connect. But then it was only in whatever space worked for them.
Well, Charles
you know?
Manson can care
Yeah.
in his own way. So let's not just say that's like an attribute.
Yeah.
He cared in his own way.
Yeah, no, cared
So
in a
did Jeffrey
way.
Dahmer.
Yeah, cared
Yeah.
for me and
Okay.
took care of me and sincerely cared about my well-being.
Right.
That was a biggie for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Sincerely cared, like from the
Yes.
heart.
Yes.
For me, it was just having someone to let me be myself. I tell you that all the time.
Yeah.
I was tired of being somebody else because I was.
You were, Jack. I have a hard time believing that. Really?
I know,
Oh,
right?
I do.
So,
Oh,
you know what's
that's
interesting?
sad.
So one of my
sense of self seems so intact.
Well,
right?
once you decide to become your authentic self, it's like easy.
One of my really good friends who's also named Erin, and you know Erin.
I've heard
and
you
Ron.
mention her.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she's a good friend from college. And when I was in the relationship prior to Kathy, there was a moment over Labor Day weekend 3 years ago when things were just not going well. And in fact, I had invited this person to my sister's house on Labor Day weekend for a party at Lake Delavan. And she couldn't make it. Once again, couldn't make
she
it.
couldn't make it.
Right.
Yeah.
So Erin shows up. We're sitting there. My sister's being as empathetic as possible. Right. Oh, you didn't know the story. But she's sitting there and she's going, my sister's saying things like, I know, give her time. And maybe she's not quite for you. And Erin looks at me and she goes, what the fuck happened to you? And I went, what? Because you've never been like this. You've never tolerated shit from anybody. You've always stood your ground on stuff. You've said, these are my rules and my boundaries. She's like, you are the most self-aware, confident person I know. And you become this fucking wimp. And so she went off on me. And then I realized.
It's true about relationships.
Yeah, I gave, that's the red flag thing. I gave up so much of myself. And so when I know when I met Kathy, it's interesting. I, for the first time in my life, could not care less if she liked me. I want to know what she was about. I want to know if she was someone I want to spend time with. And I was myself. I even said to you 100 times that night, if any of my family members or friends were here with me right now, they would go, I cannot believe he just said that.
Like, you're blowing this
You're
dude.
blowing it, dude.
You
And I
are
went, I don't care.
blowing this
I'm going to
dude.
talk like myself. I'm going to be myself. And that's the one thing I will say that I love the most about our relationship is that I am clear almost to a fault.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I find this stuff fascinating, and I really feel bad for you. Please hear this, because when you read your Hinge stuff from that one guy, like if that's the shit you're getting, there's a buku market for me out there to help men.
Yeah.
Because you
I agree.
You're so much more deserving of something than
Thanks,
that.
and you're right.
Yeah,
You're
because
right.
you put some witty stuff out there in the little bit that we saw, and it's just, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm sorry, I just went off on a tangent.
It's true.
It's
It's
good.
true.
It's
Yeah.
good.
It's so stupid.
Well, I think what's okay about it is that I don't have any. This is just like a conversation piece, really.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
This isn't. My life isn't hinging on it anymore.
All puns
Exactly.
intended.
Yeah, right.
What'd you say?
All puns intended.
Hinging on it.
Hinging on it.
Hey, maybe that's where it comes from.
Maybe.
I don't know, but yeah, it's not. But long ago when I was doing this, I was like once when there was only Match.com, when it was like 2010 or 9 or whatever it was when I did that.
And all that.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't do that. Because
I've heard that's a commitment. And
Well,
it's
that's also a
expensive.
religious
eHarmony
one.
is a religious one,
it's
and
religious.
It's
I
truly
Right.
based
did
for.
not.
It's a very Christian.
It really
Got
has
it.
got again.
At least I
God
experienced
bless
it.
them, but I'm
God.
not. That's not me. Yeah.
Yes.
So I just did Match.com when it came out, or when it was time for me, and I would get ready for that date like almost like shaking, like if this isn't it, I'm gonna break. That kind of thing.
Setting yourself up.
Well,
for
because
some-
I
that's
wanted
some
more
pressure.
kids.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
just like when women look with their ovaries, it's like
Yeah, I
men
love
looking
that
with their
saying.
dick.
Yeah.
It is. You're not going to find a quality person. You're
Yeah.
not. You're just going to
Yeah.
find what you need
I
for
love
that,
that.
end of
I really do.
your goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah,
it's a great
and that was really
equivalency.
true, and that's why I feel like I'm in a good place now, because I actually, and I think you can tell because you've known me, that I feel happy. I feel creative. I feel authentic. I feel
Yes.
That's so good.
and that's and I've resigned myself to knowing that if the end of my life comes, hopefully that's over 100 years old doing yoga.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a life partner for me, a romantic, wonderful, intimate partner. If that's the worst thing,
Yeah.
that is the worst
Yes.
thing that didn't get checked,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I had my baby.
Yeah.
I
You have
have
us.
I have you guys, and I do.
but I
What
mean
more
that.
would she need?
Well, I
You're
don't think
right.
she needs
Well,
more than
but
that.
you're
family,
both right.
friends.
Oh, my family.
health.
I have
Your
great family. I have
child.
great friends.
Yes.
And I have my abilities, my physical
Yes.
abilities, my mental and
Yep,
creative
exactly.
abilities. I mean, I
Yeah.
love where I work. I love my coworkers.
Yeah. Yep.
I quit modeling.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that was one of the best things I ever did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which includes being authentic to
Yeah,
myself, because that
no
was
doubt.
not ever me.
Yes. Yes.
So that's okay. That's
Yeah.
why this is a fun experiment.
That's good.
That is
Right?
a fun experiment. And
It is.
I think you've heard me talk about going on Bumble at the same time, which is also a fun
I did
experiment.
that. I've done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked that the women were the first ones
That's
to reach
what I
out.
liked about it, too.
That was a little empowering, because then you can just keep the door closed on any creepers or
Right.
anything like that and not get weird comments. But so
Right.
we have been recording for 55 minutes. It's
Oh,
so
this is
easy
so-
to talk to you.
It
It's
feels like
so
it's been
fun.
20 minutes.
I know,
No, I
right?
know.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but we
So
better
let
bring it
me-
to a
let
close.
I have this last question that I had sent you about if you
And then do you
could
want to do a
give
Gottman's
your
thing too?
Sure. If
Okay.
you
Yes.
could give your
Yes.
younger
Always
self...
do the Gottman thing.
I know. If you could give your younger self dating advice, what would you share with your younger self?
No doubt, and I never did this. Write down your boundaries. Write them down. Don't just mentally think.
Yeah.
Write them down.
Yeah.
1 through 5, 1 through 10, whatever. Bullet points.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it. And I never
Yeah.
did that. I was just like, who wants me? You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
You're a felon, which I fortunately don't think ever, but they can't, right? But they can't they can't, I did go on a date once, Match.com date.
Yeah.
Before I made all my boundaries. And when he picked me up, he had in his car one of those sensors for every time he started his car, he had to blow into it because he had TUIs.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So that there's something you put as a boundary, right? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that.
And you know
Yes.
what? And here's what's funny. So
that was authentic of him, but
so it may sound unsympathetic, and I dated someone just last week. Kidding. I dated someone who told me that she had a problem with alcohol, that she had the breathalyzer thing, and then she had something else, like a wrist bracelet or something on her ankle. And she said, I'm going through therapy, and it's funny because I don't want this to be heard that I'm not empathetic towards someone going through that.
Absolutely.
I just knew I couldn't deal with it.
right.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't have the capacity. I knew I didn't have the understanding of it, and I didn't want to. And I know it may sound callous. I'm not here to save somebody. And I knew I couldn't deal with it.
No.
And
There's a
so,
lot of work that we're all still doing on ourselves, maybe and that putting that in the mix is.
but I think it's
In the
okay
beginning.
to say I
Adds
can't
to
do
the
this.
challenge, right.
I
Adds
think
to the
sometimes
challenge.
boundaries seem like hard lines and walls. It's just sometimes I can't do this, and that's
You
okay.
don't want to go into it like that. Let's say I had been dating a wonderful person, and then over 10 years they developed an alcohol problem.
That's
Does that mean
different.
I'm going to leave them? No.
That's
No,
different.
right.
They got an anklet. They got an
That's
anklet.
different.
They
You've
got a
been, you've been
breathalyzer.
with them. So different.
Absolutely. But you're going on into it like that.
Yeah,
it's not.
I
That's the boundary.
appreciate you saying boundaries. That's
That's a
really
boundary.
interesting. I have to
That's
admit, I would
it.
have never guessed that as an answer. That's
That
a really
is
cool
really
answer.
it. That is the
Yeah.
most important thing, because when
I
I
love
think
it.
about my younger nieces who are in their early 20s, and and then myself at that age, I want to hold their faces and just say, you write down a list. And
Yeah.
even if you put it in your drawer forever, it's going to be there somewhere in your subconscious mind.
Exactly.
And you say, they can't have a drug problem. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe they're obvious, but you just
Yeah.
have to say, ooh, wait, that
Yeah.
sparks something. Not
Yeah.
going to do that.
Yes.
They can't be a felon. They can't, whatever it is. You got to write it down for yourself.
Yeah. They have to love cats.
But
Well,
you
they
see-
don't have to.
But
They
you
don't
see
have
why
to
I
love
think that's
cats.
okay.
No, I'm just saying that if
But they have
that's
to be
something
open to
that
animals.
you'd want on your list,
Let me ask you this.
right.
Let me ask you a follow up to that. So I think my feeling is this. I don't have any knowledge basis on this. It's just my gut. I really mean it. That when you
None
put
of this is based on.
This is my own gut.
I know.
I'm being honest.
It's all our guts.
So
This
when
whole show.
yeah, right. When we say there's boundaries, right, and that list can be big, like you said, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
The opposite end of that is, oh my God, I'm never going to find anybody because I'm too picky, right? That could be the opposite of that is, well, how am I going to find someone if I'm that particular? And I've learned as I've gotten older, fuck that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going
That's
to be
what
that
I'm here to
particular
say.
because I know what I'm waiting in my life to be and what I wasn't until I was 55 years old when I met her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not kidding you. I wasn't that particular. I wasn't as particular as I needed to be.
Right.
And what happened because of it? I suffered. I went through a shit ton of pain.
Yeah.
And believe me, we are not always on the same page. We are not always
No,
happy
we
with
weren't
one
on the
another.
same page last night.
Most
Right.
of the time.
Because
But
Jack was
Most of the
wrong.
time.
But,
I was wrong about how wrong you
That's
were because
tough.
you were wronger than I thought.
That's tough. That is tough. That's
Yeah.
a sore spot for me.
Yeah.
that's that's tough.
But
I feel
those
that.
moments, right, babe? They last this long.
Exactly.
And we get through them and we talk about it and we say, I was really upset with you and I was upset with you. And we can let that settle. And I don't know about you. I think I'm safe to say this. It doesn't linger. There might be some
No.
residual silt, but
Yeah.
it's not a scar.
I think I'm learning that our disagreements don't mean it's the end. I used to think that if you fight or argue or you got annoyed with me, that you were like mentally packing your bags and it was
Yes.
over. So I
I
have to
was
make
last
everything
night.
right.
Last night I was.
Don't even joke.
I didn't mentally. I
But
had
even
3
if
of
you
them packed.
did, I would have to know I'd be okay, right? But but no, I have such confidence in my relationship with him now. What an amazing place to be.
I think
Yeah.
the boundaries thing is what I love, Erin. I'm so glad you said that because I never thought
That's a good
that.
one.
And I don't think anyone listening should perceive that boundaries means limitations. It means you're serving yourself.
Oh,
You know?
you're
Yeah.
serving your authentic best self.
100%.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Amen.
I'm really happy you brought that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so true.
All right.
Gottman's us.
Okay,
Gottman's
guys.
card deck. So we have lots
Yay.
of topics. Love maps, open-ended questions, rituals of connection, opportunity, date questions, or I feel.
Go ahead, pick one. Pick a
How
category.
about expressing needs? Because that's been.
I love these.
No, this
let's
is
see.
needs between couples.
Well, I know this whole thing is between couples.
Yeah.
really.
No. But I want to have a question that I need a foot rub. I think it's
Okay,
It's
you pick
hard.
one.
Yeah, I would take these categories right
Okay.
here.
Open-ended questions.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
There you go. That's we've done before. I know there's dead silence on a podcast, which is terrible.
Key.
Do you read? Yeah.
Key, fix that.
Key can fix that, right?
He can edit that out and just get right to the question.
Okay, so she's answered
right.
some of those questions already. There, how about that?
That's actually a really good one.
Okay.
What do you
We'll
find?
all answer this question.
Exactly. What do you find exciting
Oh,
in
wait,
life
side note.
right now?
Before you read it again, because I
Yeah.
know I just interrupted you. My daughter is going to think we're bullshit on this answer.
Oh.
Alex. Because every time these questions come up, she's like, oh, whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe she doesn't want to know, right?
No, she thinks, because we always say our life is great, we're really good. She's like, oh, come on. There's
Yeah.
other things you want. But I think that's because of our age. But go ahead, ask the question.
What do you find exciting in life right now? I got quite a few things on the list, and they all sort of revolve around the life that I'm creating with you, you know. But I would say curating this house has been really, really fun for us. And we went today to Ripon, Wisconsin, brought back some yummy objects and incorporating them into the house. So I know it's not too deep, but that is really exciting for.
I'll go next, that Erin can go last.
Okay, go.
I'm excited about, the thing I'm excited about life right now is being on the verge of change. Because we're right on the edge of change.
I always feel like we're there.
I know, but you've heard me talk recently that I'm done with the current work. I'm ready to do something new. And that's a huge risk at our age.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really excited about life. It feels cool to take a chance on
Oh,
ourselves.
I love that.
Oh, gosh.
So
yeah.
that's it for me.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Oh, that is exciting.
What do you find exciting in
Well,
life right now?
the first thing I got was a metaphor when I heard that. So
okay.
when I was little, and one thing I squelched when I was older because I don't know, because I stopped being authentic, was I was in a lot of school plays as a little girl.
Yeah.
Okay. So and I remember, in the middle of the play, the curtain would come down. And then you'd have time to change the set and change your outfit and like rehearse your lines again and make sure everything is right.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. Like, oh, I did really great back then, but it's going to come up and those people still waiting. They're in the audience. I'm going to do better this time. And at the end of this show, I'm going to have my best performance. And so that's how I feel now, especially since I just had my birthday. And I really feel like I'm not gonna say no to opportunities that I know I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm
great.
too tired to go see you tonight, or
That's great.
things like that. So I feel like this is it's
You did it
cliche.
tonight, by the way, by driving up here. That's a classic example.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna that's gonna be not just this year. I hate when people say 23 is my year. 22. No, this is it. The rest of my life, I'm changing that whole
That's
thing.
awesome.
Because you don't know how long you have.
No,
As-
you sure
Right.
don't.
As silly and cliche and trite as that sounds, it is just true.
Yeah.
And I got to take all
Especially
right.
as you start to get our age, it becomes more
Well,
realistic.
I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I am kind of your age, guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so I mean, I'm.
you
So,
are.
right.
Oh, you're up there, Erin. You're
Yeah.
pretty-
You've
up
got
there.
that 5.
Yeah.
You've got that
You got a
5 in
five
there
in front
now.
of it now.
Yeah. So I get it, and it's taken
Yeah.
me a while, but that's okay. And I just feel like the curtain's down right now, and now you can hear the hush of the audience.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's I still got time. I still got time
love
to
that.
do a
I
good
love it too.
performance.
Fantastic.
That's how I feel right now.
You rock.
You so rock.
Thank
So you
you.
know what we have to do is you have to look at the camera. You know we do every time. You got to go peace.
Okay, now we have 8 cameras. So
Right.
which one do I look at?
Believe
which
me, if
one?
I could
How about
do
this
that.
one over
How about
here?
this one right
over
there?
here.
Oh, that
Ready?
one?
On the count of 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. You
Oh, wait, what
are
do I
you gonna
say?
do it? Peace.
Oh, I say peace?
You say
Okay.
peace.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Peace.
Peace.
Jack and Kathy Shit Show outro take
You should start off
652.
laughing. You just listened to another episode of the Jack and Kathy Shit Show.
Our senior producers are me.
Hey, and me,
This episode was produced, engineered, and mixed by.
the amazing Key Honar.
Email your questions, comments, or interesting relationship stories to jackandkathyshitshow@gmail.com. That is Kathy with a C.
Be sure to follow and like our marvelous shit show on Instagram and TikTok at Jack and Kathy Shit Show. Apparently, liking and following is a thing.
It is.
Yeah.
This episode was produced by Pint Productions 2022. Point!